What if getting slimmer had less to do with counting every calorie and more to do with changing the way you live each day? For 21 days, I followed 4 simple Japanese-inspired habits. No extreme diet, no exhausting workouts. But by the end, my body felt lighter, my mind felt calmer, and the person in the mirror looked different. This is what changed. 1. Eat until you are satisfied, not full. Before this challenge, I believed a meal was finished only when the plate was completely empty. I ate quickly, ignored the moment my hunger disappeared, and continued until my stomach felt heavy. During these 21 days, I changed one simple rule. I stopped eating when I felt satisfied, not painfully full. I began taking smaller bites, chewing slowly, and putting my spoon down between mouthfuls. This gave my body enough time to tell my brain that it had received enough food. At first, leaving food on the plate felt strange, but I soon realized that finishing everything was only a habit, not a physical need. Within a few days, my portions became naturally smaller, my afternoon tiredness decreased, and my cravings became easier to control. I stopped eating simply because food was available, because I was bored, or because I wanted comfort. The most powerful change did not appear immediately on the scale. It happened inside my mind. For the first time, I felt that I was controlling food instead of allowing food to control me. 2. Walk after every meal. Before this challenge, I usually sat down immediately after eating. Sometimes I watched television, checked my phone, or returned to work while my body felt heavy and tired. During these 21 days, I replaced that habit with a gentle walk after each meal. It was not a difficult workout, and I did not need special clothes or equipment. I simply walked for 10 to 15 minutes at a comfortable pace, either outside, around the house, or even in one room when the weather was bad. At first, the habit seemed too small to create any real difference, but that was exactly why it worked. It was easy enough to repeat every day. After several days, I noticed less bloating, better energy, and fewer cravings for sweets after meals. Walking also helped me avoid the sleepy, uncomfortable feeling that often came after eating too much. The biggest lesson was simple. Movement does not need to be extreme to be effective. One exhausting workout can be forgotten, but a small walk repeated after every meal becomes part of your lifestyle. By the end of 21 days, my body felt lighter because I had stopped treating movement as punishment and started using it as a natural part of daily life. 3. Make every meal simple. Before starting this 21-day challenge, I made healthy eating far more complicated than it needed to be. I searched for perfect meal plans, counted every calorie, worried about every ingredient, and often believed that losing weight required expensive foods or difficult recipes. The more complicated the plan became, the harder it was to follow. Some days I ate very little because I wanted fast results, and other days I became so hungry that I reached for whatever was easiest. I was not failing because I lacked discipline. I was failing because my routine demanded too many decisions. During these 21 days, I followed a much simpler Japanese-inspired approach. Instead of building every meal around restriction, I built it around balance. I chose a modest portion of rice or another simple carbohydrate, added vegetables, included a source of protein, and often began with a light soup. I stopped trying to make every meal exciting, huge, or completely different from the day before. My goal was not to create restaurant-style food. My goal was to prepare meals that felt nourishing, satisfying, and easy enough to repeat. The first thing I noticed was how much calmer eating became. When there were too many choices in front of me, I usually ate more than I needed. A large plate filled with rich foods encouraged me to keep tasting even after my hunger had disappeared. But when my meal was simple and clearly portioned, I could pay attention to my body instead of being distracted by endless flavors. I began to understand that satisfaction does not always come from having more. Sometimes it comes from being fully present with less. I also changed the way I served my food. Instead of placing everything in one oversized portion, I used smaller dishes and separated the different parts of the meal. This made even an ordinary meal feel thoughtful and complete. A small bowl of rice, vegetables, protein, and soup looked more satisfying than the same amount of food piled carelessly onto one large plate. The visual balance helped me slow down, appreciate each part, and stop seeing food as something I needed to consume as quickly as possible. Another important change was reducing heavily processed snacks and meals. I did not ban every enjoyable food because extreme rules usually create stronger cravings. Instead, I made simple food the normal choice and treats the occasional choice. When I wanted something sweet, I first asked whether I was truly hungry, thirsty, tired, or simply bored. Many times, the craving disappeared after drinking water, walking for a few minutes, or eating a proper meal. I realized that my body was not always demanding sugar. Sometimes it was asking for rest, nourishment, or attention. Meal preparation also became easier because I stopped trying to create a new plan every day. I kept a few dependable foods available and used them in different combinations. When healthy ingredients were already prepared, I was less likely to order something heavy or snack without thinking. Simplicity removed the argument from my mind. I no longer stood in the kitchen asking what I should eat while becoming hungrier and more impatient. I already had an answer. This habit changed my relationship with portion sizes as well. Previously, I believed that a healthy meal should be large because the ingredients were nutritious, but even healthy food can leave the body uncomfortable when eaten beyond its needs. I learned to begin with a reasonable amount and wait before taking more. If I was still physically hungry, I could continue. If I was satisfied, I stopped. This small pause prevented many unnecessary second servings and helped me separate real hunger from the desire to keep eating because the food tasted good. By the second week, I noticed that my stomach felt less heavy after meals. I had more stable energy, and I was no longer thinking about food all day. This surprised me because I assumed smaller, simpler meals would make me feel deprived. Instead, balanced meals reduce the sudden hunger that used to push me toward snacks. When the body receives enough protein, vegetables, carbohydrates, and water, it does not need to constantly demand quick energy. The strongest lesson was that consistency becomes possible when the routine feels peaceful. A complicated diet may create excitement for a few days, but it also creates pressure. The moment life becomes busy, the entire plan can collapse. Simple meals survive busy mornings, stressful afternoons, and tired evenings. They do not require motivation every time. They become part of normal life. After 21 days, I did not feel as though I had survived a strict diet. I felt as though I had learned a better way to eat. My meals were smaller, but they felt complete. My choices were healthier, but they did not feel punishing. I was no longer searching for one magical food that would transform my body. I was building a pattern that my body could trust. That was the real before and after change. Before, I believed progress came from controlling every detail perfectly. After, I understood that progress came from removing unnecessary complexity. The simpler my meals became, the easier it was to stay consistent. And the more consistent I became, the less I needed willpower. Healthy eating became powerful only when it stopped feeling like a temporary challenge and started feeling like a natural way to live. 4. Turn healthy living into a daily ritual. Before this 21-day challenge, I treated healthy living like a temporary project. I exercised only when I felt motivated, prepared healthy meals only when I had enough time, and went to bed early only after becoming completely exhausted. My routine depended on my mood, which meant it constantly changed. Some mornings I felt determined and promised myself that I would transform my body. By evening, stress, tiredness and distraction had already taken control. I was always starting again because nothing had become part of my normal life. During these 21 days, I stopped waiting to feel motivated and began turning small, healthy actions into rituals. A ritual is different from a goal. A goal is something you hope to achieve in the future, but a ritual is something you repeat today without needing to debate it. I decided that caring for my body would no longer be an occasional event. It would become part of how I started my morning, ate my meals, moved through my day, and prepared for sleep. My first ritual began immediately after waking up. Instead of reaching for my phone and allowing messages, news, and social media to fill my mind, I gave myself a few quiet minutes. I opened the curtains, drank a glass of water, stretched gently, and allowed my body to wake up slowly. The routine was simple, but it changed the direction of my entire day. When I began the morning in chaos, I usually continued making rushed choices. When I began calmly, I felt more in control of what happened next. The stretching was not intense. I moved my shoulders, reached my arms upward, rotated my waist, and loosened my legs. At first, it felt too easy to matter. But after repeating it every morning, I noticed that my body felt less stiff and more prepared to move. More importantly, the ritual sent a message to my mind. My health deserved attention before the demands of the day began. I was no longer treating my body like a machine that should instantly begin working without care. I also became more intentional about preparing meals. Previously, I often waited until I was extremely hungry before deciding what to eat. By that point, I had little patience and usually chose the fastest option. During the challenge, I created a small preparation ritual. I washed vegetables before I needed them, kept simple ingredients available, and decided in advance what my next meal would be. This did not require hours in the kitchen. It required only enough planning to prevent hunger from making every decision. Preparing food slowly also changed the way I experienced eating. Instead of throwing something together while checking my phone, I paid attention to the process. I noticed the colors of the vegetables, the sound of water boiling, and the smell of the meal as it cooked. This made food feel less like entertainment and more like nourishment. By the time I sat down, I was calmer and less likely to eat too quickly. Another ritual was keeping my eating space clean. Before every meal, I cleared unnecessary objects from the table and removed distractions. I stopped eating while standing in the kitchen or scrolling through videos. Sitting in a clean, quiet space made even a simple meal feel important. It helped me notice when I was satisfied because my attention was no longer divided between food and a screen. This was one of the most unexpected lessons of the challenge. The condition of my environment affected the condition of my habits. When the room was messy, my mind felt restless. I delayed cooking, avoided movement, and searched for quick comfort. When the space was clean, healthy choices felt easier. I did not need a perfect home. I only needed to remove enough disorder to create a sense of calm. So I began using another small ritual at the end of each day. I spent a few minutes putting things back in their place, preparing what I needed for the morning, and leaving the kitchen ready for the next meal. This simple action prevented yesterday's mess from becoming tomorrow's excuse. Waking up to a clear space made it easier to continue the routine without feeling overwhelmed. Movement also became a ritual instead of a punishment. In the past, I believed exercise only counted when it was long, painful, and exhausting. Because I could not maintain that standard every day, I often did nothing. During these 21 days, I changed the rule. Movement counted whenever I intentionally used my body. Walking after meals counted. Stretching in the morning counted. Taking the stairs counted. Cleaning the room with energy counted. A short workout counted. This change removed the pressure that had made exercise feel frightening. I no longer asked, "Do I have enough energy for a complete workout?" I asked, How can I move for the next 10 minutes? Once I began, I often continued longer than expected, but even when I stopped after 10 minutes, I had protected the ritual. The goal was not to perform perfectly. The goal was to become someone who moved every day. By the second week, I noticed that I was no longer negotiating with myself as much. At the beginning, every habit required a decision. Should I stretch? Should I walk? Should I prepare food? Should I clean the table? After repeating the same actions in the same order, they began to happen naturally. This saved mental energy. I did not need to feel inspired because the routine itself carried me forward. The evening ritual became just as important as the morning. Before the challenge, I often stayed awake while watching videos, checking messages, or thinking about unfinished problems. I went to bed late, slept poorly, and woke up craving sugar and quick energy. Then I blamed myself for lacking discipline, even though exhaustion was controlling many of my choices. During the 21 days, I began preparing for sleep instead of simply collapsing into bed. I dimmed the lights, reduced screen time, cleaned the room, and tried to sleep at a similar time each night. I did not achieve a perfect schedule, but the repeated pattern taught my body when the day was ending. Gradually, falling asleep became easier. Better sleep changed more than my energy. It changed my hunger. On mornings after restful sleep, I felt calmer and made better food choices. On mornings after staying awake too late, everything felt harder. I wanted larger portions, sweeter foods, and less movement. This helped me understand that weight management was not only about eating and exercise. The way I rested influenced the way I lived the following day. I also learned to protect the ritual when life became difficult. There were days when I felt tired, busy, or disappointed. In the past, one difficult day would destroy the entire plan. I believed that missing one workout or eating one heavy meal meant I had failed. During this challenge, I refused to turn one imperfect choice into a week of giving up. When I could not complete the full routine, I completed the smallest version. If I could not walk for 15 minutes, I walked for 5. If I could not cook the meal I planned, I chose the simplest, balanced option available. If the room felt overwhelming, I cleaned one small area. This taught me that consistency does not mean doing everything perfectly. It means continuing even when the day is imperfect. That mindset protected me from the dangerous cycle of guilt. Guilt had never improved my habits. It only made me feel hopeless, which pushed me toward more unhealthy choices. The ritual gave me a clear path back. I did not need to wait for Monday, the beginning of a new month, or another burst of motivation. I could return with the next meal, the next walk, or the next morning. As the days passed, healthy living began to feel less like something I was forcing and more like something I belonged to. My body started expecting movement after meals. My mind felt uncomfortable when the room became too cluttered. I naturally became sleepy near my usual bedtime. The habits were no longer separate tasks. They were connecting and supporting one another. A calm morning made it easier to prepare a balanced breakfast. A balanced breakfast gave me stable energy. Stable energy made walking easier. Movement improved my mood. A better mood reduced emotional eating. A clean evening space helped me relax, and better sleep prepared me to repeat the cycle the next day. No single habit created the transformation. The power came from how the habits worked together. By the end of 21 days, I understood why extreme plans had never lasted. They demanded a version of me that could remain motivated, energetic, and disciplined every hour. Real life does not work that way. Some days are stressful. Some nights are short. Some meals do not go as planned. A powerful routine must be strong enough to survive ordinary life. The rituals worked because they were small, clear, and repeatable. They did not require expensive equipment, perfect circumstances, or endless free time. They required attention. They asked me to slow down, prepare, move, rest, and respect my body consistently. The physical changes mattered. I felt lighter, less bloated, more flexible, and more energetic. But the deeper transformation was the trust I built with myself. Before the challenge, I constantly made promises that I did not keep. Every broken promise weakened my confidence. During these 21 days, I stopped making dramatic promises and began keeping small ones. I promised to drink water after waking up, and I did it. I promised to move after meals, and I did it. I promised to prepare for sleep, and I did it. Every completed ritual became evidence that I could depend on myself. That confidence was more powerful than any number on the scale. Before, I thought changing my body required one massive decision. After 21 days, I understood that transformation is created by hundreds of small decisions repeated quietly. It happens when healthy living stops being something you do only when you are inspired and becomes part of who you are. The strongest lesson was simple: your body follows your routine. When your routine is chaotic, progress feels like a constant battle. When your routine supports you, healthy choices become easier. You do not need to rebuild your entire life in one day. You need to choose a few actions that matter, place them into your day, and repeat them until they feel natural. That was my real before and after transformation. Before, I chased results while ignoring the life that was creating my body. After, I changed the life itself. I stopped asking how quickly I could lose weight and started asking what kind of routine I could continue with peace. The answer was not more pressure, it was ritual. And once the ritual became part of my life, the results no longer depended on motivation. 21 days did not give me a perfect body. They gave me something more powerful, a lifestyle I could actually continue. I learned that lasting change is not created by starving, counting every calorie, or punishing yourself with exhausting workouts. It begins with eating mindfully, moving naturally, simplifying your meals, and turning small, healthy choices into daily rituals. Your transformation will not happen in one dramatic moment. It will happen quietly, through the promises you keep to yourself each day. Start small, stay consistent, and 21 days from now, you may not only see a different body in the mirror, you may discover a calmer, stronger, and more disciplined version of yourself.